I needed my walk-up music. I don't know what happened, but what's that? We can play it now. Oh, it's for them? Okay. It's probably better. I'm a terrible dancer, so. Cool, yeah, so we want to spend some time talking about the BetterCloud product roadmap, obviously. And so David alluded to this. We're going to actually have the PMs and POs come up and talk about their area specifically. They're the ones that have been working really hard to figure out, how we're going to build these platform features. But again, this going back to what David mentioned here, this. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, so this BetterCloud platform roadmap journey is going to be a long and exciting process, and we need all of your help to figure out how to do that. We want to make sure that we're building these features in a platform way and making sure that we're not just solving point solutions for particular apps, that we're building these into the platforms, that they work with all of your use cases, all of your applications that you need supported in this platform. So with that, everybody get ready to vote. Like we said, we take these votes really seriously. The data that we get back from these votes is extremely important to us, and it's what fuels our prioritization for the rest of the year. And again, please make sure you have your phones out and charged and the app's open, because we are going to ask you to vote. So please vote. And with that, I'd like to bring up Cam and Jamie to talk a little bit about the roadmap.
Get ready. We on tour, and we're doing it better than anybody else alive. You're talking to the Rolex wearing.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. My name is Nkem Mwankwa, and I'm a product manager of the IVR tribe at BetterCloud.
I'm Jamie Choi, the product owner of the IVR tribe.
And together, we make the product team of the ingestion, visualization, and reporting tribe at BetterCloud. This means that we're responsible for syncing in the connectors that you actually connect to BetterCloud and displaying that data in the users, the groups, and the files grids. This also means since the last time we met, we've been responsible for giving you guys Okta. Also, there you go. Also, the shared with column in the files grid, the activity-based alerts, a large portion of that, and also keeping the users and files grids performant and up to speed for you guys, because processing millions of data objects is not an easy task.
So if you don't like anything on those pages, you can blame us.
But don't do it while we're up here, because I don't like to look bad. No, I'm just playing. I can never look bad. Woo. All right. Jamie, what are we here to talk about?
We're here to talk about DLP.
DLP!
So, over the course of the next year, we'll be turning up our focus on security policies, and DLP will be at the center of that focus. At BetterCloud, data loss prevention means any policy put into place to minimize exposure of your company's sensitive data. So today we're going to be talking about why DLP should be at the top of your minds and how BetterCloud can help you sleep soundly at night.
That is her baby, by the way. All right, so DLP, why should you guys actually care? Well, you guys might have read this on one of our recent Monitor articles, but we recently had a customer connect Dropbox to BetterCloud, and they found out that they had 36,000 files shared externally. That's not 3,600, that's 36,000 files shared externally, right? In addition to that, they had 10% of their users actually forwarding emails to their personal Gmail and personal email accounts, right? That's bad news, right? So the ironic part about all of this is that these threats aren't actually malicious. We actually put a survey out to you guys, and we found out that 62% of these threats are actually from negligence. So they're basically just mistakes. So my question to you is, do you want to be the next headline? All I did was go on Google, type in data breach, go to the news section, and boom, a bunch of articles came out, right? So the thing is, if you guys don't believe me, just think about this. A recent Kaspersky Lab article actually said that 31% of data breaches led to employees getting fired. So we're going to do like they did to me in freshman orientation back at Georgia Tech. Look to your right and look to your left. If you guys do not take DLP seriously, one of you guys will not be here next year at Altitude. And you want to be here, right? Because it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, please take this seriously, or you won't be sleeping so soundly at night. Yeah.
We had to put the kids in the pictures because, you know, sympathy, all of that good stuff. All right. Well, we have some good news, though. So the good news is that right now you can take advantage of many of our DLP features, right? So in the files grid, you can actually see what files are being shared with external entities or with team members that they should not be shared with. You could go ahead with the action engine then and revoke those shares, or you could take things to the next level and automatically revoke those shares with workflows. In addition to that, you can see what users have email forwarding settings actually turned on, and you can go ahead and revert those settings as well. Now, question, who in this crowd is actually using these features right now? Awesome. I don't see everybody's hand up, though. So those of you who are not, please talk to your peers and all of that and find out how they're using them so you can go ahead and take advantage of these, because it's obviously going to help your organizations. Well, today we're here to talk about 2 more additional features that we're working on right now, and that's content scanning and third-party apps. Now, I know what you're thinking. We actually talked about this last year. Actually, I was up here, and I was talking to you guys about this last year. But this year is a little bit different because we are actually actively working on these right now. BetterCloud is a true platform like we've been discussing all day today, right? And once we actually implement these features, it'll help you take your career from a strategic level to the next level, basically, instead of having to run around and worry about all these tactical things. So, like BetterCloud is growing to a platform, you guys will take your careers to the next level as well. Okay, so let's talk about content scanning first of all. So what is content scanning? Well, it allows BetterCloud users to identify sensitive text in their cloud storage systems across SaaS apps. So that's Drive, Dropbox, Box, Slack, across different SaaS applications, right? In addition to that sensitive text, that means like things like email addresses, your credit card numbers, and social security numbers, things like that, right? So as I was getting ready to develop these features for you guys, right, first thing I wanted to know is what you actually wanted. So I hopped on Google Hangouts. I've talked to a few of you guys. I've talked to some of you. If I've talked to you, raise your hand. Boom, yep, I've talked to you, Sarah. I've talked to Sarah as well in the crowd too. So hopped on Google Hangouts. That's supposed to be a picture of me. If I was a little bit more stylish, you might call that hipster in cam if you want. So what did I actually find from you guys? First of all, you wanted accuracy. So you wanted fewer false positives and more true positives. You also wanted the ability to easily exclude false positives. You also wanted the ability to review results within the application rather than having to download the file, open it, and then search for the sensitive data in there. You also wanted a little bit of regex help, right? Some suggestions, some pre-built regexes on what to actually find, what is sensitive data, right? Also, everybody wants an easy-to-use application. Wanted that as well. You wanted flexibility too. Now, you guys have talked to me about this to an extent, right? You wanted and conditions and or conditions as well. And then finally, you wanted the ability to transfer your legacy DLP policies into the new BetterCloud too. So we talked about what you guys actually wanted. Let's talk about how we're going to roll it out. So content scanning over the next few months-ish is going to be rolled out in 3 different versions, right? V1, V2, V3. So V1 is going to be a policy go forward scan. So what that means is when we actually have an event on a particular file, we'll go ahead and scan that file for any sensitive data. So if anybody, for example, shares a file externally or changes the content of a file, we'll go ahead and scan that file right there on the spot. V2 will be a selection of files, right? So you could go into Files Grid, select a particular file or group of files, and scan those files in bulk. So what that means, for example, if you have, let's say, a finance folder and you want to find if there's any credit card numbers in there, you go to the Files Grid, select all of the files in that finance folder, and go ahead and scan for any sensitive data. In addition to that, let's say, for example, that you have a custom regex that you wanted to actually kind of refine and figure out whether it's performant and it's finding exactly what you want. You would pick a sample file for that regex and just keep on running it over and over rather than deploying it across your whole file system, right? And then V1 leads up to V2, which leads up to V3, and V3 is going to be a historical audit. So we'll basically scan your whole file system to find any sensitive data in there. So throughout these 3 versions, what's really important is that we need your help throughout all of this, right? We want this to be a partnership between BetterCloud and our customers so we can create the most valuable content scanning system for you. So please don't be shy. Come talk to us. Got a few mocks of content scanning over here. It's nice and clean. You can see here where you can scan for particular keywords. You can scan for document types like documents, presentations, spreadsheets, things like that, and also include private files. And we'll also have a bunch of pre-built regexes for you as well, so you can go ahead and pick one of our custom-built presets as well. All right. So Jamie, what's up with third-party apps?
Well, third-party apps is what allows our BetterCloud users to identify the third-party applications that your end users are connected to. So these can be the ones that help you with your day-to-day tasks, or the more intrusive ones that do more harm than good. And as admins, you guys know that end users sometimes get connected to these applications without knowing the ramifications. When that happens, areas like your files, directory, emails, they can be compromised. And when that happens, compliance easily broken. So a solution we had was Apps Audit. Some of you may be familiar with this. And Apps Audit is a really powerful tool that served as a looking glass into the third-party applications that your end users are connected to in your Google instance. However, we've grown. We've grown into this platform, and we don't serve just Google. We have other applications that we support. So that brings me to the new third-party apps. The new third-party apps here is not a true depiction of what it'll be, because currently it's this green space to make whatever we want. And by we, I mean us, BetterCloud, in partnership with you guys. Together, we want to build out a strong, powerful, new experience. We're currently in the early stages of research, so that means we have lots and lots of questions, like, do the trends that we saw in the legacy products are they still valid? Are they still valuable to you? Were there any areas that kept you a little wanting? And in general, are there any specific use cases, pain points, and just overall what we can do to help you feel confident when managing your third-party apps? So please talk to us. Your feedback is extremely valuable.
All right, so key takeaways that we want you to take from this presentation. First of all, DLP is a critical part of security. Going to do this again. Look to your right, look to your left. If you don't take it seriously, you won't be here next year. And next year, I heard we're giving out cars or something, I don't know.
Ooh.
Don't quote me on that. Also, content scanning is going to be released in stages. That's V1, V2, V3, going from the policy go forward to the historical audit. Third-party apps is in research phase right now, so this is the perfect time to come and talk to us about it and give us your feedback. And to reiterate that point, please don't be shy. We don't bite. We're a friendly product team. We're a beautiful product team as well. So come talk to the beautiful people at BetterCloud. Any questions?
Sorry if I missed this. When's V1-ish gonna be then?
Good question. I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth over here.
So no cars?
No car. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. Actually, it's TBD. I will say that it's going to be sooner than later, though. But I can't give you an exact date. Yes.
For content scanning, like you mentioned, things like social security number, credit card information, something that is very important in the educational space is looking for things that are related to self-harm, saying like, I want to do X or whatever. Is something like that on the roadmap of being included in the content scanning space?
Absolutely. So we actually have that filter in our previous content scanning engine as well. Our lovely CSM team actually built that out. So we are actually implementing that in the new version as well.
So I got a question regarding the mail forwarding. Currently, if you go to set an alert, you can set an alert for mail being forwarded to Yahoo or Gmail. Is it going to be possible in the near future to be able to set an alert to say every other ISP, let's say, except for our internal domains? That way we can block forwarding outside but keep forwarding working internally.
That's a good question. That is not my team, so I'm not going to put my foot in the mouth on that one, but we can talk about that after. Yeah.
The other question I had was regarding apps. Are you going to have a scoring system for permissions on apps so you can see what are the most dangerous apps and least intrusive apps?
Well, we need your feedback. It's literally a green space. We're really in the early stages of research, so if we can connect afterwards, we can definitely benefit from that feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. The big question is, do you actually like the scoring system, or do you just want to know what specific permissions they have on there?
No, are we done? In regards to third-party apps, how are you detecting that they're connected?
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah, we have our engineering team here, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Oh, Sean, would you like to answer that question?
What? Oh, you work for BetterCloud, dude. What are you doing?
Oh, he's going to answer the question.
Surprise.
Oh, my bad. Talk about foot and mouth, right?
Currently for the Google third-party apps audit, Google releases an API for this. A lot of the other vendors that we connect with have similar APIs, so we should be able to hook into those with the same event monitoring systems that we currently do.
Okay, up next, we got Blaine and Julia.
Thank you for that introduction to Kim. All right, okay. I can use this clicker. So hey everyone, I'm Blaine Veal.
And I'm Julia Florick.
And together we make up the product team for
Alerts, automations, and actions.
You know what, Julia? I've heard these are some pretty cool features.
Blaine, I've heard the same thing, but what exactly do they mean?
Well, we asked all of you, and together you let us know that these make up your policies!
Over the past year, we've invested in detecting and automating policies that you have defined.
Like supporting your time-sensitive offboardings with wait for duration.
And adding in activity-based alerts that help you detect end-user login and file download activity.
Now proactively notifying you and your stakeholders on the outcomes of your automations with workflow notifications.
And since our last altitude, we've delivered over 150 new actions and alerts. We've been pretty busy.
So we hear you. In listening to your stories, it's evident that your teams have a lot on their plates. Managing hundreds to thousands of end users, devices, and applications can feel like a delicate balancing act where mistakes for IT and end users are especially painful.
We've heard direct quotes from you, such as, "I just feel like all I can do all day is put out fires."
We want more for all of you than to just be firefighters. We want to help you transform that chaos with policies by identifying blind spots, wrangling data sprawl, and empowering you via automation.
We've also heard quotes such as, "I feel happy whenever I create a new policy." To me, it's like meditative problem solving.
It's an actual customer quote, by the way. So we're here today to highlight some of the new ways our teams are exploring to help you defend your domain and put you on the offensive. And at the end, we want to hear the votes from you as to which of these will help solve your most pressing policy needs.
So as Blaine just mentioned, we want to put you on the best defense this year, just as the Pittsburgh Steelers drop the steel curtain and defend their end zone. We want to do the same for you by investing in our alerting capabilities. So the first feature that I'd like to introduce and would like to get some votes from you on are around device management. Since launching the new platform, we've heard feedback from you that you would like better insights into how your end users are interacting with our devices. If you were to vote on this feature, we would invest in our alerting capabilities around how your end users are interacting with Windows, Android, and iOS. Imagine this. Sarah is the leader of your finance department, and she just logged in from her iOS device 100 times in less than 10 minutes from a foreign IP address. Having a proactive policy already set up, you have this locked down, defending your domain. Now moving into the next example, we have team folder insights. We have over 200 feature requests from you that you would like better insights into how your end users are interacting with their team folders, just like they're interacting with the regular folders that they have today in applications, such as Team Drive and Dropbox. Ingesting a new data type like this is a pretty hefty task, and we want to start giving you insights sooner. So if you were to invest in this feature, we would align our roadmap to give you insights into activities going on in your shared folders, again, just like our regular folders today. So remember Sarah from the earlier example? Well, she keeps all of your financial forecasting documents in a shared folder, and that just got sent out to a company that you don't recognize. Again, you're proactive, and you already have a policy set up to lock this behavior down and do more investigation before anybody gets any external access. Therefore, enforcing your policy. Now on to the last one for defense. We have app-specific settings. We've also received feedback from you that every application that you utilize in your environment helps you apply global settings, but a lot of times you have to make exceptions to these, and more than one person on your team may be responsible for it. Either way, we just know this can be tough to manage. So now Sarah is at your desk for the third time today. But this time, she's actually being proactive. She's asking for you to add a new company into your whitelist for Box. You have this locked down because you have a really restrictive sharing policy in place. Not having enough time to question, you just go ahead and add this company on, and this sets off an alert within your domain, letting all of your peers know that this company has been added. You didn't realize, though, but you don't have this privacy agreement set up yet, and you need every company on your whitelist to have this in place. You're able to, again, detect this right away because one of your peers lets you know that it's not ready. You give Sarah time to go get the privacy agreement signed, and one more time, you've just successfully enforced your policy.
Thank you for that sneak peek, Julia. I'm really excited for this future generation of alerts.
Me too, boy.
So, as Julie mentioned, we want to help you guys play great defense, but more so than that, we want to complete the picture and match that with a powerful offense. So more so than just having you guys feel protected from threats, we want you to feel empowered to subdue your domains and be the superheroes of your organization. So take workflows, for example. As more users have integrated BetterCloud workflows into their IT operations of their organization, the more wish list items we've received from you, our community, as to the new areas that you're imagining where we can implement this part of the platform. So some of the most recent workflows asked we've gotten are around managing stakeholder handoffs, allowing for scheduled maintenance, as well as quickly recovering from snags in your policies. So let's take a look at Dave, the IT SAS operations manager for his organization, and follow him during a typical day at the office. So we've heard that while necessary, managing stakeholder and departmental handoffs within your organizations for your policies is a major pain point. So one of the steps at his company's offboardings requires Dave to interface with legal and get their sign-off as to whether a user should remain under litigation hold or whether their account can proceed towards deletion. Normally, this would result in a lot of back and forth with his legal team, adding time and friction to a business-critical process. Instead, though, Dave leverages wait for approval here. His workflows will send automated messages to legal, getting their approval and proceeding accordingly without tying up Dave and allowing him to invest in more strategic efforts. Next up, something else we've been hearing from you is that a lot of your policies occur on a regular schedule versus being triggered by an in-app event, and you need a better way to manage these. So another area under Dave's domain is scheduled SAS maintenance. And while fairly routine, this process is vital to keeping his organization secure, compliant, and cost efficient with things like password resets, email signature settings, and scheduled account deletions for inactive and suspended users. So right here, Dave uses scheduled policies to configure regular enforcement of these areas, relieving him of the administrative burden and the opportunity for error. Lastly, we know that even the best policies that you guys have set up have their bad days, but you all need the ability to recover quickly when they do. So since Dave is the go-to guy for his company's SAS policies, he's also the first to triage their automations when they are in need of his attention. So let's take, for example, a user offboarding. You're transferring files to a user's manager, but what happens when that relationship has not been defined in the application? Normally, the automation stops in its tracks and the offboarding remains incomplete. But Dave, he has retry policies. So he'll make that correction to the manager, and he can seamlessly send this automation on its way without tying himself up in manual steps to complete the offboarding. So we hope this overview has made the crystal ball a little less cloudy with respect to what the future of policies at BetterCloud has in store.
Now we need your help. We need to make sure that as we define our roadmap over the next year, we stay in alignment with your policy needs. So again, come talk to us and we can move into Q&A. I think so.
Policies!
Ooh, no questions. It was just so clear.
Ooh, here we go.
So with the requiring an approval before proceeding, is there a current plan to have flexibility between single point of approval or change approval boards wherein one person can speak for an entire group of possible responders, but there might also be a need for a situation where two people might need to respond, so on and so forth? Or is it going to be single point of approval before moving forward?
So I'm going to echo what Jamie said earlier. These are features that we're going to start developing next year. So we're still in the phases where we can get your input as to what helps fit your use case, and we can build that into the solution. So at this point, that isn't a requirement that's come up, but I'd love to hear more about it afterwards, and we can see how we can make that work.
Definitely.
At our organization, we utilize like Smarsh or something like that for archiving the mail. So rather than waiting to figure out when to delete that account, that's typically the solution. However, HR does need access to it for a certain amount of time. So I was thinking with something like this, where instead of it being legal that does that approval, it might be just HR.
Yeah, you'll be able to define the groups that you would want us to send that to, so we could make it HR or whoever you would need it to be.
So I know you're still in the planning phase, but the retry policy is the current view that it's going to be it pauses a workflow and then you go in and manually can retry it. And how does this fit in with the fact that most workflows, I believe, have a keep trying when it fails built in already?
So sometimes we do have a retry strategy in our current action, the way our action engine works. But for instance, I think there's a limit to that, so we'll retry maybe. I think it depends on the action, but sometimes upwards 3 to 4 times. But in this case, where the manager wasn't present, that would actually fail. And if you have kind of a critical step where you don't want to lose that user's data, a lot of times, a lot of our users we've seen will stop the automation. So does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
For the approval flow, is it just going to be simple like yes/no type queries that you prompt the user with, or are you actually going to allow input for it? Like it'd be great to, have that pop up in my HR manager's Slack saying, hey, we just offboarded this person. You wanted us to forward the email. Please type in the email and have that pre-populate in.
Yeah, we've also explored that option just in kind of brainstorming through this already. So I'm going to get your contact. We're going to jump on a hangout and work through that use case.
Internally, we call it like approval/input. So.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Awesome. So a lot of cool features, huh? Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and one thing, so these are obviously a lot of like the main things that we're going to be working on, a lot of the major initiatives, but there's also a ton of other things that we're going to be building too. So just because you don't see something in this list or in these presentations doesn't mean that we're not thinking about it or that we're not going to do it. I think, if you look at the video that we have that showed all those features, we released a lot of stuff. And if I put together, I usually like to do this internally, but I like to put together slides that literally just lists each feature release that we've done, and I'm past the point now of when I do that like once a quarter, like I need like multiple slides for that. So it's really awesome. We released a ton of features, and we're going to be building more and more things. So please continue to give us feedback on things that like you don't see there as well. And again, I'm going to continue to stress this that that we want to make sure that we're building everything that is platform ready. We don't want to build point solutions for specific applications. So if you take something like third-party apps, for example, we did that for Google really well. And what that means in Google is third-party apps in the Google Apps marketplace and how users are connecting other apps that actually have requests to API access. We're seeing that in other applications, but they're a little bit different, right? So in Slack, you have like user bots and chat bots and things like that people are connecting. In Dropbox, you have mobile apps that users are installing that are accessing their files. And in Salesforce, you have App Exchange apps. So we're seeing all these things across all these platforms, and we want to make sure that we're building it to work with all of these and more applications. So we need your feedback, again, to help figure out how to make those right. So with that, the product team, like I said before, ready to accept that feedback. We're going to be at dedicated tables during lunch, ready to literally accept a lot of that feedback, or schedule calls, or listen to whatever you want to tell us about any of these ideas or more. So please come find anybody on the product team or any BetterClouder, and they will help you connect to us. And again, we'd love to continue hearing your feedback. So with that, we're going to do a 15-minute break now, and then we're going to have Mike and Priscilla from the EAG team come up and talk to you for a little bit. So thank you.